Let's start with the most important thing, the idea. TURAN represents a new approach to working with capital in the digital environment. The financial market has changed. It is becoming increasingly difficult to compete alone in terms of speed, scale of opportunities, and access to strategies. Scale is now becoming the decisive factor. This is why community finance emerges, a model where results are formed not by the effort of a single individual, but through the coordination of participants, tools, and transparent rules. We are building TURAN as a platform that connects capital, technology, and community into one unified ecosystem. Next, we will look at how this system is structured and which mechanisms make the results possible. We are a crypto-native community that has gone through several market cycles, and our key conclusion is simple. In Web3, value is created not by trends, but by coordinated action. A strong community is a real advantage. That is why TURAN is being built as an ecosystem where capital, expertise, and tools come together. Here, contribution builds reputation, and reputation defines the level of access and influence within the system. Community is the new capital. TURAN is the infrastructure that supports it. Collaborative finance is not about a shared wallet. It is about coordinating resources through transparent rules. ComFi is a model in which participants combine capital, knowledge, and actions to support common initiatives and strengthen each other's results. TURAN is being built as an environment where access to tools is based not on promises, but on rules. The rules are public. Participation is voluntary. The key element is reputation. It reflects each participant's contribution and determines the level of access within the ecosystem. This is how human capital becomes a measurable value and forms the foundation of a new financial model. Simply put, ComFi is not a product and not an investment instrument. It is a framework, a structure within which participants learn, coordinate, and gain access to DeFi tools through clear and transparent rules. The core idea is a self-regulating environment. People develop through practice, research, and active participation in the ecosystem. Reputation becomes a measurable indicator of contribution. It influences the level of access, partnership status, and opportunities within the system. Governance is based on transparent rules. Participation is voluntary. Risks are clearly stated and not hidden. ComFi is an infrastructure for coordination, and TURAN is being built as the environment where this model is put into practical use. Now let's move to the system's economics. TRN is the utility token of the TURAN ecosystem. It is deployed on the base network and serves as a technical instrument of the platform, not a promise of profitability. Through TRN, the protocol logic is implemented. Fees, access levels, incentive mechanics, and participation in governance. The token unlocks practical functions within the ecosystem: reduced fees, access to tools, partnership levels, and participation in proposals and voting. Status growth inside TURAN is not based on promises, but on measurable contribution, learning, activity, and verified use of the platform's tools. Additional temporary campaigns, boosts, and rewards may also be introduced. These operate under transparent rules and include mechanisms that protect the system from abuse. It is important to understand that TRN is an infrastructure tool. Its role is to support the functioning of the model. And before we move further, one more important point. Crypto assets are inherently volatile. The price of the token may change, sometimes significantly. Participation in the system is voluntary. Each participant makes decisions independently, assessing the possible risks. Now let's look in detail at one of the most practical questions. What exactly happens when you acquire TRN, and how the funds are distributed within the system. When you acquire TURAN, the protocol automatically distributes the entire volume of funds according to a predefined tokenomics model. This is not a manual decision made by a team. The logic is embedded in smart contracts and executed on-chain. The distribution is fixed and transparent. A portion of the funds goes to the protocol pools. This is the part of the capital that begins working and participating in on-chain strategies. It is here that the main results for participants are generated. Another portion goes to the partner program. These funds are used to reward active participants who help grow the ecosystem, bring in new users, and support the platform's expansion. A separate share is allocated to the token's liquidity. This is important for stability. Liquidity ensures that TURAN can be bought and sold without sharp price distortions and helps maintain balance when activity in the system rises or falls. A small portion is allocated to the development team. This operational share supports infrastructure, platform development, and the stable functioning of the ecosystem. There is also one more fundamental principle. Part of the system's turnover returns back into the token's liquidity. This means the system continuously strengthens its own liquidity through real activity, not through the arrival of new participants and not through additional token issuance, but through capital working inside the protocol. As a result, the model forms a closed loop. Funds do not disappear and are not manually extracted. They either work inside the pools, support liquidity, or return back into the system, strengthening its overall stability. To participate in the ecosystem, users simply connect a standard Web3 wallet, such as MetaMask, Trust Wallet, or any compatible solution. You remain the owner of your funds and interact with the protocol directly, without intermediaries. TURAN is developing within the existing Web3 ecosystem and uses proven protocol and infrastructure components. This is not about direct partnerships or contractual obligations, but about technological integration at the level of protocols and standards that form the foundation of the platform. The ecosystem relies on core elements such as Ethereum and its second-layer infrastructure, including the base network. USDC is used for working with stablecoins. For on-chain operations and liquidity, decentralized protocols such as Uniswap are used. And for wallet connectivity, the platform uses Wallet Connect. In simple terms, TURAN is not building its own blockchain from scratch. The platform is built on top of reliable and widely adopted technologies that have already proven their stability and security within the Web3 environment. This approach provides several advantages. First, a stable technical foundation. Second, compatibility with the tools users already know and use. And third, the ability to scale without relying on closed or centralized technologies. Now, let's understand how this model evolves over time and why the TURAN roadmap is divided into two phases. The entire logic of the platform is built around a gradual and controlled launch. This is intentional. In systems like this, it is critically important to first establish the foundation, liquidity, working mechanisms, and a community, and only then move toward full decentralization and scaling. The first phase is alpha. The alpha phase forms the economic foundation of the entire system. At this stage, the initial liquidity of the token is created, and its primary distribution takes place. This is where capital begins to operate within the protocol model, and on-chain strategies start working according to the predefined tokenomics. This phase is relatively closed, and this is done deliberately. The goal of alpha is not rapid public growth, but stability. During this period, it is important to accumulate sufficient liquidity, test and refine mechanisms, build internal interaction within the system, and avoid the influence of external speculative factors. In simple terms, alpha is the stage where the system learns to operate in real conditions, but without the pressure of the mass market. The second phase is beta. The beta phase represents scaling and the transition to a fully autonomous model. At this stage, the key role is played by the community activity, ecosystem growth dynamics, and the level of liquidity that has been achieved. During this phase, the deployment of autonomous smart contracts is completed. Governance becomes fully on-chain. Liquidity is moved into a decentralized environment, including decentralized exchanges, and manual intervention is completely removed. It is during the beta phase that the platform transitions from a controlled launch to a fully decentralized ecosystem, where the rules are defined by code and development is driven by the actions of participants. To summarize briefly, Alpha is about foundation and protection. Beta is about scale and autonomy. This approach prevents the system from expanding too early and allows it to build a sustainable model rather than a short-term hype cycle. The TURAN ecosystem is being developed as a Web3 infrastructure that will gradually expand beyond the platform's basic model. Among the future directions are copy trading, allowing participants to connect to strategies without transferring control over their funds, payment tools designed to integrate digital assets into real-world use, as well as play-to-earn and other Web3 engagement mechanisms. The ecosystem also includes the development of a DAO model for community participation in the platform's evolution, an educational environment, and peer-to-peer exchange as key infrastructure components. All of these directions represent the next stage of development. However, the core mechanism that generates results remains the same: the pools. This is where the part begins that brings most people to TURAN: the work of capital and the formation of income. In TURAN, there are 3 pools. They are not better or worse than one another. They simply differ in logic, speed, and level of risk. And it is important to understand from the start, you are not required to choose only one. You can distribute your funds between pools, combine them, or focus on a single one. This is your strategic decision. Let's begin with a basic principle. All pools operate exclusively with TURAN. You do not enter the pools directly with dollars or ether. First, you acquire TURAN, and then you allocate it to a pool. Every entry into a pool is recorded on-chain, and each position has clearly defined conditions: the return structure, the accrual period, and the maximum result potential determined by your package. Now let's go through them one by one. The first pool is the 200 pool. This is the most conservative and the most straightforward pool in the system. Its maximum return potential is up to 200% annually. Accruals are regular and do not require long waiting periods. This pool is designed for people who value stability, predictability, and minimal stress. In simple terms, if you prefer smooth operation without sharp fluctuations, this is the most suitable option. Many participants use it as a base pool that remains active even when experimenting with more aggressive strategies. The second pool is the 500 pool. Here, the potential return is higher, up to 500% annually, but the structure is different. This pool carries a higher level of risk, and rewards are calculated quarterly, meaning once every 3 months. The reason is that the strategies used inside are more active and aggressive. During these 3 months, you may see fluctuations, temporary drawdowns, and market volatility. This is a normal part of the process. Quarterly payouts are designed to smooth out short-term volatility and allow the strategies enough time to perform. The declared risk factor is about 25%, which means temporary declines may occur, but the model assumes recovery through time and strategy performance. The third pool is the 1000 pool. This is the most aggressive and potentially the most profitable pool in the system. The maximum potential return can reach up to 1000% annually. But here, it is important to be honest with yourself. This pool is designed for participants who understand risk and are psychologically prepared for higher volatility. The strategies used here are the most active ones, and the risk factor is around 50%. Payouts occur every 6 months because these strategies require more time to recover from possible drawdowns and reach their potential. Now, there is one very important detail that many people overlook. Income is generated only within an active pool. If you do not have an active pool, the system does not generate results, even if you hold TRN or have an active package. In TURAN, there must always be at least one active pool if you want your capital to work. There is also another key principle. Every placement inside a pool has a limited earning potential determined by your package. The pool defines how and how fast the income is generated, while the package defines the maximum amount you can receive from that position. For example, imagine you have a package with a multiplier of 2 and you place 1,000 TRN into a pool. The system will generate income until the total result of that position reaches 2,000 TRN, not indefinitely, not as long as the market is good, exactly up to the limit defined by the package. This makes the model predictable and manageable. Finally, it is important to remember that you can distribute your funds across different pools. For example, you might keep part of your capital in the 200 pool for stability and place another part in the 500 or 1000 pool to accelerate potential results. This approach is completely normal and often recommended for balancing risk and return. Now that you understand how the pools work, the next logical step is to look at how packages amplify the results inside these pools and why the same pool can produce different outcomes for different participants.
Packages in TURAN are not a subscription, not a fee, and not an entry payment. Packages determine how effectively your capital works within the system. In simple terms, a package answers one key question: how many times your funds can grow inside the pools. At the core of the packages is the concept of a multiplier. A multiplier acts both as a limit and as an amplifier of results. It defines in advance the maximum amount you can receive from each allocation. Let's go step by step. There are 3 packages in the system. The first package ranges from 10 to 999 TRN. Its multiplier is 1.5. What does this mean in practical terms? If you place 100 TRN into any pool, the system will generate income until the total result for that position reaches 150 TRN. No more, no less. Exactly 1.5 times the original amount. The second package ranges from 1,000 to 9,999 TRN. Here, the multiplier is 2. This means that if you enter a pool with 1,000 TRN, the maximum result for that position will be 2,000 TRN. If you place 5,000 TRN, the maximum becomes 10,000 TRN. The principle is always the same. The capital can double if the pool strategy performs fully. The third package starts from 10,000 TRN and above. Here, the multiplier is 2.5. The example is simple. If you place 10,000 TRN into a pool, the maximum result becomes 25,000 TRN. Not approximately, not if the market is favorable. This limit is defined by the system in advance. At this point, it is important to clearly understand the philosophy behind the packages. A package itself is not income. A package defines the framework within which the pool operates. Pools determine the speed of accruals, the payout period, and the level of risk. Packages determine the maximum possible result, the efficiency of capital, and the long-term structure of participation. If you are starting with a smaller amount of capital and want to understand how the system works without aiming for maximum results immediately, the first package is a logical option. It offers a clear and limited outcome with minimal pressure on decision-making. If you already understand the mechanics and want your capital to work more efficiently, the second package becomes a balanced middle ground. It allows the result to double without requiring a very large capital volume. The third package is designed for those who participate with a long-term perspective. It is not meant simply for experimentation. It is intended for participants who understand that the system is designed to operate at larger capital scales, and that significant active TRN within the ecosystem produces the strongest effect. It is also important to say this openly. TURAN is not designed for millions of participants with minimal contributions. The model is structured so that active participants with larger involvement achieve greater efficiency than passive participants with small allocations. This is not hidden, it is part of the architecture. There is another fundamental rule. The multiplier only works when there is an active pool. If you have a package but no open pool, income is not generated. The system always encourages active participation in capital allocation rather than passive waiting. One more point to clarify before moving forward. A package does not disappear, it completes its defined limit. Once a position reaches the maximum result defined by the multiplier, that position is considered closed. To continue generating results, the capital needs to be reactivated by opening a new pool and, if necessary, selecting a new package. This brings us to the next logical step. If pools define how capital works and packages define the maximum result you can reach, the natural question becomes, is it possible to increase that result without adding additional capital? Even if you participate in the system in a passive way, you still have the ability to receive an additional reward for personal recommendations. If someone joins through your referral link, acquires TRN, and opens a pool, you receive 7% from the pools they open. This applies only to people you personally invited, with no levels, obligations, or complex conditions. Beyond this point begins the next level of participation. This is where the business package appears, a format that allows you to increase your results not by investing additional capital, but through activity and engagement. This is also where the linear structure and the boost mechanism come into play. The business package. And here it is important to place the emphasis correctly, because this slide answers a key question: how to earn more than just from your own capital. Let's start with the main point. The business package is not a mandatory element. You can choose not to use the business side at all, not invite anyone, and earn only through pools and packages. The system fully allows this. But if you understand that you want to increase your income beyond your personal capital, the business package opens the next level of opportunities. Now to the core idea. The business package gives access to the partnership and reputation mechanics of the system. It is not designed for investment. It exists so that you can receive additional income from the activity of people you introduce into the ecosystem. The cost of the business package is 25 TRN. It is purchased once and has no expiration. After activating the business package, 3 key opportunities become available. The first is the linear structure, or uniline. This is a simple and transparent model. You invite people, they become your direct partners. Those partners can invite others, and so on. A team begins to form. One important principle: you do not earn from the purchase of tokens. You earn only when your partners open pools. This is a fundamental rule. If someone joins, buys TRN, and does nothing with it, you earn nothing. But when that person opens a pool, the system records the activity, and you begin receiving a commission. Why is it designed this way? Because the system rewards real capital activity, not speculation or token turnover without participation in the ecosystem. The second opportunity is earning from the depth of the structure. Income is generated not only from your direct partners, but also from the partners within your team, up to 12 levels deep. The percentages are predefined. They are higher on the first levels and gradually decrease deeper in the structure. This ensures that the main motivation remains working directly with your first line, rather than relying only on passive depth. To unlock deeper levels, 2 conditions must be met: a certain number of personally invited partners, and a sufficient total volume of TRN in pools across your entire team. Importantly, this volume is counted across all levels, not only the first line. This makes the structure easier to grow. The third and most important opportunity is the connection between the business package and the boost mechanism. This is where the real mathematics of income begins. Without the business package, you earn strictly according to the multiplier defined by your package. With the business package, you can increase that multiplier through activity. In other words, you influence not only the commission income, but also the profitability of your own pools. Simply put, the more active you and your first line are, the more effectively your capital works. It is important to understand the philosophy behind this. The business package is not about aggressive selling. It's about trust, reputation, and personal experience using the system. You are not selling TURAN. You are sharing how you personally use the system, which pools you open, how your package works, and why it is beneficial for you. That is why rewards in the business component are tied to real activity, open pools, repeated participation, and ongoing engagement. To summarize briefly, pools generate income from capital. Packages define the maximum limit of that income. The business package allows you to earn from the activity of others, amplify your own results, and build long-term income that is not limited only to your personal capital. At this point, a logical question appears. How exactly is this partnership income calculated? What levels exist, and what percentages are involved? Uniline is the partnership model within TURAN. And here it is important to clarify one key point from the start to avoid incorrect expectations. Uniline works only if you have activated the business package. Without the business package, you can still earn through pools, but the partnership structure and commissions are simply not available. In simple terms, Uniline is a system where you earn not from registrations and not from token purchases, but from real participation in the platform's activity, specifically when people open pools. Imagine that you have activated the business package. After that, you invite someone to TURAN. They register, acquire TRN, and most importantly, open a pool. At that exact moment, when the pool is opened, the system records the activity and Uniline begins to generate income. Now about the structure. The people you personally invite form your first line. The people they invite form the second line, and the structure continues deeper, up to 12 levels. At the same time, there are no limits in width. You can invite 2 people, 10, or 100. The structure does not break and does not stop growing. It is important to emphasize again, if someone only registers, there is no income. If someone acquires TRN but does not open a pool, there is still no income. Income begins only when a pool is opened. This is the action that generates your partnership reward. The percentages are distributed by levels. The highest percentage is on the first level, and it gradually decreases as the structure goes deeper. This design ensures that the main income goes to those who work directly with people, while deeper levels provide an additional and more stable flow. Now let's summarize what determines growth in Uniline. To unlock new levels, 2 conditions must be met. The first is a certain number of personally invited partners, people you directly invited. The second is the total volume of TRN placed in pools across your entire team. Importantly, this volume includes all levels, not only the first line. This makes the model more flexible and removes unnecessary pressure on direct invitations. There is also one more important rule that is often overlooked. To receive income from Uniline, you must always have at least one active pool. If you do not have an open pool, partnership rewards are not generated, even if there is an active structure under you. This protects the system from passive participation and helps maintain the stability of the model. Looking at Uniline as a whole, it is not a system where you invite someone and forget about it. It is a long-term structure. You earn from the activity of your team, from repeated pool openings, and from reinvestment. The longer the structure remains active, the more stable your income becomes. And now we come to the next logical step. Within TURAN, there is a mechanism that allows you to amplify not only income from pools, but the overall effect of your participation in the system, including Uniline. This mechanism is called boost. This is one of the most important mechanisms in the entire TURAN model because it allows you to significantly increase your income without investing additional capital purely through activity. In simple terms, boost is an amplification coefficient. It increases the multiplier of your package. It does not change the rules of the pools, and it does not change the tokenomics. Instead, it amplifies the result you are already generating. Let's recall the basics. You have a package with a multiplier, for example, 1.5, 2, or 2.5. Without boost, your earnings follow exactly that multiplier. But boost allows this multiplier to increase, and sometimes quite significantly. Here is how it works in practice. If you have a package with a multiplier of 1.5, boost can increase it to 2. If you have a package with a multiplier of 2, boost can increase it to 3. If you have a package with a multiplier of 2.5, boost can increase it to 4. Now let's translate this into actual numbers, because many people underestimate the scale. Imagine you have a package with 1000 TRN and a multiplier of 2.5. Without boost, the maximum result would be 2500 TRN. With a full boost of 100%, the result becomes 4000 TRN. The difference is 1,500 TRN, generated not because you invested more, but because you were active. Now, the key question: how does boost grow? Boost increases only through the activity of your personal partners, meaning your first line. It is not based on the entire structure and not on deeper levels. It depends specifically on the people you personally invite. Several actions increase boost. When a new partner registers, you receive 5% boost. If that partner activates a business package, you receive an additional 10%. If the partner opens a pool of the first level, you receive 5% more. A second level pool adds 10%. A third level pool adds 15%. All these percentages accumulate. Boost builds over time, and it begins influencing your income immediately, not after reaching 100%. This is a very important detail. For example, if you have accumulated 50% boost, your multiplier is already increasing. It does not wait until you reach 100. The growth happens gradually and dynamically. Now about the 100% boost level. When you reach 100% boost and maintain this level of activity for 31 days or longer, the system activates an additional enhancement. Your Uniline income increases across the first 5 levels. This mechanism is designed as a long-term incentive, encouraging sustained activity rather than a short burst of engagement. There is another nuance that is important to understand. Boost is calculated on a weekly basis. Every new action extends and strengthens it. If the activity continues, boost can accumulate beyond 100%, 200, 300, or even more. However, for calculating the maximum package multiplier, only the first 100% is counted. Anything above that acts as a reserve, protecting your level if activity temporarily decreases. And there is one more key rule without which boost does not work. You must always have at least one active pool open. If there are no active pools, boost may still exist, but it will not generate income. This is a fundamental rule of the system. To summarize, boost is a tool for those who do more than simply participate. It is designed for those who actively build the ecosystem around themselves. It rewards those who develop their first line, help partners enter the system, and maintain active participation. And now that we have covered pools, packages, the business package, Uniline, and Boost, it is time to move to the final element of the model: global binary, which introduces another stream of income and operates at the level of the entire platform rather than just your personal team.
Global binary is the third source of income in the TURAN system, and it differs fundamentally from Uniline and Boost. If Uniline is about your personal team and Boost amplifies your activity, then Global Binary generates income from the activity of the entire ecosystem. Let's begin with the most important point. In Global Binary, you do not build the structure manually. You do not need to fill branches,
place people on the left or right side, or monitor the balance. The system does all of this automatically. How do you enter global binary? Every time you open any pool, you automatically receive one position in the global binary structure. One pool equals one position. When the pool is closed, the position is considered completed and is never used again. Now let's look at how the binary logic works. Each position has two branches, a left side and a right side. Positions within the global binary structure are filled from left to right based on the overall activity of all participants on the platform. It does not matter whether the person is your partner or someone from another country. When a pool is opened, the system simply finds the next available position and places it in the structure. This is the key idea. Global binary works through the activity of the entire platform, not only your personal team. Even if you personally invite no one, your structure can still be filled by the global activity of the ecosystem. Now about income. Income in global binary is generated when the volume on the left and right branches becomes balanced. When this happens, the smaller side resets to 0, the larger side decreases by the same amount, and you receive a reward. The reward is fixed at 4% of the balanced volume. For example, imagine that the left branch accumulates 20,000 TRN and the right branch accumulates 30,000 TRN. The system balances 20,000 TRN. You receive 4% of that volume, which equals 800 TRN. After that, one branch becomes 0 and the other retains the remaining 10,000 TRN. It is important to understand that income in the binary structure does not accumulate endlessly. Each position works only while the pool that created it remains active. Once the pool is closed, income generation for that position stops. The position is considered completed and cannot be used again. Why is this designed this way? Because it keeps the system fair. It prevents anyone from securing a favorable position permanently and earning infinitely simply because they joined early. The structure constantly renews itself. Old positions close, new ones appear. The more participants join the system, the faster the structure moves and the more evenly income is distributed. There is one more important detail. If you have multiple pools active, you receive multiple positions in the global binary structure. This means one participant can take part in the binary system from several positions at the same time, amplifying the overall effect. To summarize, global binary is an additional income stream that works automatically, does not require personal invitations, depends on the activity of the entire platform, and rewards long-term participation through repeated pool openings. And it is precisely the combination of all three mechanisms, pools, the linear structure with boost, and the global binary distribution, that creates a balanced model where income is not tied to a single source but distributed across several layers. Now let's summarize and bring everything we've discussed into one clear picture. TURAN is not about quick decisions and not about a chaotic pursuit of income. It is a system designed to build a sustainable financial model, one that relies not on a single person, a single strategy, or a single decision, but on coordinated effort, distributed mechanisms, and a long-term approach. Here, you decide how you want to participate. You can start simply by using pools, allocating capital, and generating results through the selected strategies. You can go deeper, using packages and amplifying your results through multipliers and boost. You can build a team, develop a linear structure, and create an additional stream of income through the activity of partners. Or you can simply remain a participant in the ecosystem and benefit from the global growth of the system through the binary model. What truly matters is something else. In this system, you are not dependent on a single source of income. If market conditions change, other mechanisms continue working. If activity decreases in one area, the others remain active.
This is not a bet on a single scenario. It is a model built on the distribution of risks and opportunities. Over time, as the ecosystem grows, you gain not only income, but something even more valuable: time. Time that you do not need to spend on constant manual management, endless decisions, or continuous monitoring. The system continues operating even while you focus on your life, your family, your development, or your travels. TURAN is not about promises. It is about architecture, a structure where every element strengthens the others. And it is precisely this design that creates long-term results. If the idea of participating in a system built on transparency, decentralization, and collective efficiency resonates with you, then you already know where to begin and what steps come next.